Hello, my dear ones. Here I am in our beautiful greenhouse. I hope you can see it. It's filled with lovely veggies and even lovelier flowers. And I'm here because I'm sick of recording these videos in the house, and it's still too windy to record outside. It's amazing that we'll go through this summer with barely any videos recorded outside. I've been in the greenhouse for the last 20 minutes, half an hour, trying to find a way to introduce this video, to find a way to introduce the topic that I want to address with you today. And I haven't found any, so I'll just jump straight into it. When I woke up this morning, I was in horrible pain. Some of you may know that since I was a teenager, I suffered with crippling migraines or migraines. And also I have 2 herniated discs, which means that sometimes my back just refuses to function. And this morning I could barely move. And I was wondering whether I should record any video at all, because I didn't want you to see the pain I was in. And it struck me. It struck me because I have purposely been very open to you about the ways in which I suffer and the pains I have, and I don't do that just with you. I do that with the community as well. When I'm not in a good place, when my back hurts or I have a migraine, I do let them know. I tell them this is not a good day, this is a day of pain, please forgive me. And I do that for many reasons, primarily because I don't want them to misinterpret, to misread the fact that I am sad or grumpier than usual as me having something against them, as them having done something to sadden me. So I want them always to know, oh, Father is grumpy today because his back hurts or because he has a migraine. But the other reason I've done this, and I've done this purposely for the last at least 20 years of my life, a way of keeping people updated with who I am and how I feel, the reality of my life, is that nothing scares me more than building myself up or allowing others to build me up into a person I am not, into something I am not, into a reflection of their expectations, which would be completely foreign to my true person. Nothing scares me more, and I've said this before, than having to go through life as a person who's not yourself, living a life that's not your own, and rejoicing with a joy that's not your own, and being saddened with a sadness that's not your own. The idea of hell to me is to realize on your deathbed that you've lived a life that's not yours, and you're dying with a death that's not yours. And that's not just because of some, I don't know, idolatry I've built in myself about being authentic or being true to oneself or anything like that. It's simply that if you are not who you are, if you allow the pressure or the expectations of others to build you into something that you're not, then nothing of yourself is real. So your prayers cannot be real. The love you offer and the love you receive are not touching anyone, including yourself, because the love you offer does not come from who you are. And the love you receive, that love is manifested by others, not towards who you are, but towards that person whom you allowed them to think that you are. And I think this is a temptation, particularly for anyone who's in any position of responsibility or authority, be that being the abbot of a monastery or being the father of a family or the mother of a family, because it's quite obvious what people expect of us. It's quite obvious to me Forgive me, I'll have to open a window a bit because my glasses are fogging up. It's quite obvious to me what people want me to say, or what they would like me to be like, to behave like, the values that they would like me to share. Because people already have a predetermined, image of what a monk is, and what a priest is, and what an abbot should be like. Well, tough cheese. I'm not your predetermined image. I am whom God created me, with my personal unique weaknesses and my personal unique gifts. And I fully trust that God knows what He's doing when He's naming me to be in charge of this monastery. And I fully trust that God knows what He's doing by allowing me to live the monastic life, or to live as a priest. When God ordained me, He ordained me. He did not ordain a robot that's meant to satisfy the expectations of people who have already decided in their minds what a monk looks like, what a priest looks like. I think this is a way in which we fail miserably, not only ourselves, in a very practical, real way. We fail our true selves. This is not a metaphor. We compromise our one opportunity to be ourselves, to live our life with our fears and our, joys. We compromise that, but we also compromise the opportunity to love others. Because if we allow others to project onto us their expectations, and then we allow those expectations to build up who we are in their lives, then we end up being something that's not real. You end up being a puppet. You end up being an idol of sorts. People project their expectations, and those expectations, if you receive them and you allow them to shape you, those expectations will end up building an idol in their eyes. And of course they're going to love you, and of course they're going to support you, because they love and support their own expectations. They've built out of you an idol in their own image. And you can see that manifested at any level. If a parent ends up being a friend to their children, then that's a failure, because those children will have friends in their lives, but their only opportunity, their only chance to have a parent is with you and with your spouse. So if you compromise that because your child expects you to be kind, and expects you not to be a disciplinarian, expects you not to tell them when they do something wrong, expects you to encourage them in whatever, things they want to do, you've actually compromised the image of a parent in their lives. And God made you their parent, not their friend. You're not a 5-year-old playing with another 5-year-old. You are 30-something-year-old playing and hopefully disciplining and educating and preparing for life, for the realities of life, your 5-year-old. It applies to anything from that role to the role of being a priest or a monk or anything else like that. You cannot meet anyone if you are not who you are. When you've allowed the world to determine who you are, then every time you meet someone, that is a failure, because it's not you meeting with those people. It's not you interacting heart to heart, person to person with those people, but the image you've allowed the world to project upon you, the image, the idol you've allowed the world to build you up to be. And your words will never have strength. Your words will never have real impact in their lives, because those words are themselves fake and hypocritical, because they are not your own. Again, they are the words that the world has placed upon you. It's like you become the echo of the world's expectations. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not encouraging you to share your heart and the secrets of your heart with the world, because the world will do what the world has always done. They'll just trample on them and they'll turn against you. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about representing yourself, carrying yourself in the world, in this life, through this world and through this life, as who you are, with your weaknesses and your strength, and trusting, having your faith that Christ knows you, and He knew already what your strength and your weaknesses are, and yet He blessed that you would be in the position you are in. You don't need the world to confirm that you are a good parent. You don't need the world to confirm that you are a good priest. Christ has already done so by blessing that you should be in that position. Speak what Christ puts in your heart. Don't worry about how the world receives it. Act the way Christ moves you in your heart to act, and don't worry about what the world says. The only times I've lost a friend, and this is a personal example, and it may be useful or not, but I'll share this with you. The only times I've lost a friend, in fact I've never lost a friend, but I've been in danger of losing a friend, was when either I built up that friend to be into something he never was. In my mind, I built him up into being able to do things he was not able to do, into being this perfect being he never was, and he allowed me to do that. So when I needed him to be the idol I had built him up to be, he couldn't be that, naturally, because he never was that. So I was so disappointed and so hurt by the fact that the real person, the real being in my friend was not the idol I had built him up to be, that our love was almost compromised and we almost failed each other. And the same thing applies the other way around. When I've failed to update who I am in the hearts of the people around me, when I've allowed others to build me into something I'm not, that relationship barely survives. And it survives with great pain, with purposeful, active effort to let them know who you really are, and to take down the idol that they built out of you. This may sound completely theoretical to many of you, and in some ways you are the fortunate ones, because either you've never failed this way, or you've not been put in that position. But if you've ever experienced this, you understand the frustration. Because the love, if you build others to be something they're not, and then you love them, that love is real. So when they fail to be whom you built them up to be, the pain you feel is real. And the frustration and the hurt and the betrayal and the abandonment you feel are real. And the same thing happens when the world builds you up into being the priest they want you to be, or the monk they want you to be, or the parent or the friend or the spouse they want you to be. And you fail to correct that image, and you embrace that image of an idol. When that happens, and when you fail to be, as you will fail to be sooner or later, the cracks in that fake image will sooner or later appear. When that happens, the pain and abandonment and frustration are real. And it's a terrible thing to feel that you have to choose between either betraying who you are in playing that part to the end, or generating so much pain and hurt to people whom you love. It's very easy to fall in this trap because people are ready to embrace their idols. I mean, I know as a monk and as a priest, I know what I should be doing, what I should be saying in order for people to, for instance, to support our monastery. It's very obvious, it's very easy. You just look at statistics and you know what the Orthodox people would like you to say. But that's not my calling. My calling is not to be an idol. My calling is to be whom God created me to be, and to trust that Christ knew what he was doing when he blessed that I should be in this position, doing the work that I am doing, surrounded by the people I am surrounded. With fear and love, we need to move forward in complete honesty of who we are, embracing the changes as they naturally occur, and trusting at every single step, trusting that this imperfect, fallen, sinful human being whom I am and whom you are, because we all are that, these imperfect, fallen, sinful human beings are immensely, immeasurably more valuable to the world and to God himself than a fake idol built upon the projections, expectations, weaknesses of the world around us. Allow Christ alone to shape you, my brother and my sister, not the expectations of the world and not your own expectations of yourself. Christ alone, may he shape us into his image, may we grow into his image, and may we one day be shining brightly in his heaven, being precisely whom he created each of us to be. Be blessed, my beloved brother and sister. Amen, amen, amen.